7:30 p.m. First item on the agenda, and the only substantive item on the agenda, preliminary site map for 106 Seymour Road. Mr. Garcia, you have the floor.
Paul Garcia, I'm representing the Packle family. They have a parcel of property at 106 Seymour Road, which is just to the west of Newton Road. Rock Hill. I looked on Google Maps.
West
Yeah.
of Rock Hill?
And what I have here is a preliminary plan. The site has a number of wetlands on it. And the site has a number of wetlands. The field located in the wetlands, I have the wetland field delineated by William Kenny's office out of Fairfield. And we went out and as-built them and plotted them on the map to see what we have to work with. And it's a pretty tight site. The upside is I can get a house and drive and septic system. I can get the septic system outside a 100-foot upland review area. The house would be inside the upland review area. You've got this wetland here, which is this line here, and you've got, this is 100 feet from this wetland here, so you can see the majority of the house. There's a wetland here, and this is the upland review line for that little wetland here. And so it's very difficult. The house, yeah, there's a wetland here, and here's the 100-foot
Oh, okay, got it.
review line. So the majority of this house would be in the upland review area. But I can't do it. It's not undoable. And I can do it in such a way that I can...
This is Rock Hill here? I mean, yeah, okay, I'm sorry.
And I apologize.
Rock Hills.
And
This is driveway? This is driveway,
Yeah,
common drive?
that's a private drive, and Rock Hill's just down the street.
Oh, okay, all right, oh, okay.
Rock Hill's right here.
Oh, okay,
But
all
anyways,
right.
and there was a barn on this property at one time. I guess it was, they had animals on it at one time, but that was many, many, many years in the past. And so I can do, and I can segregate the house from a majority of the wetlands, and I can get the septic system outside the 100-foot upland review area. But like I said, the house and the majority of the construction around that is going to be within 70 to 60 feet of the wetlands. There's a little seep over here, and he wasn't going to classify it as a spring. He doesn't know if there's an outlet from a pipe there or something. He just classified it as a wetland. It wasn't. It was flowing. When he did this in November, it was very heavy.
Where,
So the water just comes out of the ground at this point?
Yeah, there's something happening here. He doesn't know if there's a berry hole there. You know, he doesn't know why, but it doesn't look like a spring. But he just didn't. But again, you know, there was some snow on the ground. And
So is this of common ownership, and then you just come out off this driveway to get
there's-
into it? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's an access way here, so we would come in off of here.
Yeah.
And you know, the house is here. There's the setbacks from the property line. So you know that dictates where the house goes. And then everything else is trying to fit around it.
Yeah, this is the setback here? Is this the one? Yeah.
That's correct.
Okay.
Are there off-site wetlands in this area too?
No,
or
we didn't see anything there. And this, believe it or not, this actually matches pretty close to the town wetlands,
That's good.
which is kind of surprising sometimes.
What about, I mean, it's hard to, on topography, are these
It
two
slopes this way.
Yeah.
toward the road?
Yeah,
Toward Seymour Road?
this is lower than this. I've been loath to do an awful lot of this until I actually had a chance to sit down with you guys to see, you know, if everybody's sitting here going like this or choking, then, you know, we know that we're going to have an uphill battle. But I think I can do something that's relatively modest. I mean, the house box I show is a 40 by 80, which is kind of large, but it fits pretty near anything.
It could include the garage.
Yeah, that's it. That's everything. That's what I'm saying. It's an overall. It's it's a relatively, common box, house box. You should be able to fit printing or anything in there. Now, that's still a 2,500, 30,000 square foot house. This is not the kind of house you buy that you want to put a basketball court or a tennis court on.
You should be a fisherman to live here.
Not necessarily.
What is this?
There was an old barn there. That's an old barn foundation. It shows up on the aerials. That's what the underlying map is, an aerial. It's not there anymore. That's why I said there was an old barn on the property. And that's why he thought this may have been a berry hole or something to do with that. Oh, yes, there's wetlands here, and there's an intermittent water course that comes out of the ground right there. And that comes down this way.
Oh, it flows into
Yeah,
this, oh,
it
right,
flows into
because
the
it's
pond.
high
That's what
here,
feeds the pond.
high
And
here.
there's a little pond over here, which they thought was a stock pond,
Where's the other pond?
right here.
Oh, okay.
And so I can do something, and I can provide sufficient protection to the wetland insofar as, in the form of a fence or some kind of a barrier in certain areas. But it's going to be 70 feet, 65 feet, and that's just the way it's going to be. But if the commission has issues, I'd like to try to flush them out now before I spend a lot of effort trying to bring this back.
There was a lot of tree cutting along here. Was that from the utilities?
No, that's utility work. That wasn't us. She's done nothing. This is a family lot, and they've done nothing on this.
Well, is it treed? Is it, what's the?
It's treed and brushed. It's not heavily. It's not virgin forest. There's a lot of second growth scrub.
It's all second growth.
I haven't been out there all winter. I don't know how bad it took a pounding. If it's anything like our farms, a lot of the trees that were there aren't there anymore.
And this is a shared,
Yeah, there's I think 6 houses on that.
It's a private road.
Yeah. 6?
no. There's a house up here.
Wait a minute.
I think there's only one up here. One, that's where the old farm is.
Yeah, and then the farm.
Yeah, see, we stopped. It's mine stopped 1, 2, 3, 4. There's at least 4 on the assessor's map that we printed. So there's probably 5.
5 houses or 5 lots?
Not off of that drive, no.
There can't be.
Not houses.
One.
There aren't
This one
5
comes in
houses.
off the drive. This one comes in.
This is the architect.
Yeah, but they can come in off of here if they want.
And
And this one,
there's a
No,
farm
this
up
comes
here.
in
that
off
comes in off
My
of
house
here.
here,
is over
and
here.
that comes off.
But they front it if they wanted to come out of it.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
but they don't.
I know, I'm saying there's 5 parcels, I think, that front on that.
Okay. I don't know. What's everybody think?
It's a tough lot. No, not yet. I didn't want to do anything until I talked to the commission, because the second we go out there to do soil testing, there'll be phone calls.
Well, there's always phone calls, but, we've promised ourselves that we wouldn't issue a wetlands permit on a lot that couldn't be proven for septic.
That's correct. And this is the,
Because we've had some bad experiences.
I don't think
was-
I've ever done a lot.
I can give you the address of yours.
The only one I know of, we did one in Bethany where they did it.
Conceptually, we shouldn't have a wetlands permit where we can't have a septic. I mean,
Well, I'm not asking for a permit. I would bring back,
I understand, but you're asking to go forward with an application, and that's just a question I had.
and the first part of that is I have to test for septic. If septic doesn't prove out, then it's a waste of effort.
You also have an alternate.
Pardon?
Don't you have to have an alternate septic?
Yeah, then that would be right here. This is, that's 150 feet. This is, I've got all this area up here to put a septic system in. And there's some newer products. So long as the MLSS pans out, there's some newer products. You can put septic systems for 4-bedroom houses is 60 or 75 feet. You'd have to pump it. This is a
Yeah.
pump system. You would have
Yeah.
the tank either off to the side or here, and then it'd have to pump around. But I can do it outside the upland review area. I can put, there's nothing that says I can't put a tank here and then pump out. And the septic system is outside the upland review area.
I guess my big concern is this water course or whatever it is that comes out of the ground there, so.
I can have Bill give me go back out there and take a look at it now that the weather's a little better and give me a description of what that is.
Mhm.
Okay, I'll have him go, I'll have him take a, down and check it out.
There's some way to get topological.
Yeah, it flows this way. That's what these
No,
lines
I mean
are.
like numbers of.
feet, yeah.
Oh, this is every 2 feet.
Oh, okay. Then there is.
Yeah, this is a town topo.
It
And
just
again,
wasn't annotated. Okay.
I try to do these things relatively conservatively, and I told my client, first get the wetlands flag, if it fits and we can do something, then you talk to the commission before we start digging test holes,
16.
and before we start preparing a plan and bringing it in for an application. If one of the things you wanna know is you wanna know what this is, I will have Bill Kenny,
Well, that's my
take another
personal
look at
big
it. Then I
concern.
will have him do that next week or so. I'll see how busy Bill
It's
is,
up
and I'll
there.
have him give me a report.
Of course, we can't prejudge it, but that's
I
my
understand
suggestion.
that, and I understand the issue, which is why I fought to keep the septic system outside the upland review area. Even though it is above this, it's outside the upland review area.
Distance from 74 to the, shorter than this though also.
What's that?
This
Yeah,
distance
this
is
is-
small.
yeah,
I mean, this is,
that's why I said you're gonna be within 70, 75 feet. I may move this house over some, I may twist it a little bit, but,
and it can come all the way,
what's that?
it can come all the way around.
And there may even be, in extreme cases, we may even go for a variance. This is a corner lot, this has issues of its own, and a topographical variance is a valid reason. Whether or not we wanna go there.
Oh, this
Is
is
it-
setback line here?
Is this a front yard setback off a private driveway?
You have to have 2 front yard setbacks. Unless there's something I don't know about.
Well, don't you have one along Seymour Road and one along the front of the house? Looks like you have
Well, see,
3
I'm not
front
worried about
yards here.
Seymour Road, I'm worried about this here.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's why I'm thinking if you could move it further up this way, you get further away from that water course.
I understand that, and that's why I said I can turn this, make the house smaller. I can even, I have a valid reason for going to a zoning board of appeals to get a variance, because it's a corner lot and it's a tough lot, and they've been paying as a building lot for years. That is that's one of the few valid reasons for going to a ZBA. But I'm not gonna roll those dice unless I have.
Acknowledge that they're dice.
Oh, and they're loaded, usually the wrong way,
Okay, well,
except that
anyone else want to give him some homework?
Okay, like I said, I'll have Bill take a look at it, and I'll get a report to the commission as soon as I can.
Pretty sure we'd have to go walk around there.
Oh, and I've been holding off
we
on
get
this,
that far.
and I've been telling Sarah that I didn't wanna do this all winter, because between the rain, the snow,
Oh,
and every
no,
other
no,
bloody
no.
thing, it's a tough enough lot, I don't wanna go out there when there's 3 inches of rain on the ground.
The front of the house is gonna be this,
Yes, yes.
so what's the likelihood of a deck?
Well, it's,
And,
put it, you
and the
can't make it,
garage is gonna be here and this is
it
gonna
has
be.
to be here, because if I do it on this side, I've got this wetland to contend with. So yes, if there was gonna be a deck on here, it'd probably be like this. This would be, the garage would probably look like this. So if you're gonna do a deck on this, it looks like something like that. You're 100% correct. And that's why I said, once we do the soils testing, or once I get this resolved, and it's okay to go to the next step, I may turn this a little bit, and that gives you a little bit better setback from this wetland here. And then if I turn it this way, I can also bring the driveway in this way, and then the deck would be on this side. So there's other design functions. This was just a massing diagram. This is just to make sure I can fit the 4 key components.
The septic system is to be a pump system.
It has to be a pump system,
Way uphill.
because it's way on the other side. It's the only part of the lot that's bone dry, and it's outside the 100-foot upland review area.
So in your massing exorcism exercise, you want to include a space for a propane tank for the generator that people are gonna wanna have because they can't flush the toilet without the electricity?
Have a well.
Right.
It's self-compensating.
It's,
They could get
Terry
one
has a
from
valid
the-
point. All the generator people, we're doing a lot of them. All the generator people are, 4 months out if you're lucky.
I have a generator, I
I
agree.
do
You
too.
should
I
have
have
one.
one. But my son's putting his in. It got delivered today, and my daughter will be doing hers in a couple of weeks after she buys the house. I mean, this is the new norm, and I'm going to be perfectly upfront with you. Anybody who thinks that May is winter or rare, it's now all these ash are going to be coming down, and they start coming down. There's going to be power lines going with them too. An awful lot of trees still dead in the woods that have the potential when they come down the wrong way, and they're going to take power lines with them. They've only cut right on the right of way.
Yeah.
They haven't gone into the lots, and that's where the ash are. You drive down the road, especially this spring, when everything starts to green out, take a good look at the dead stuff hanging over the road. Scary. And it's only 6 weeks ago that it was when we had the tornado. It was only 6 more weeks. Day 11.
Anything else? Okay.
Propane tanking. Let's be honest about
Well, above ground, yes.
it. Even underground.
Talk to the district about that.
Health district?
Yeah.
Yeah, only have to be 25 feet from the well.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so my point is that if you show it on a plan,
That's a valid point.
you're gonna
I
you
should-
can avoid the rush.
That's an extremely valid point. That's something we don't think about,
Mm.
and we should be because we're doing more and more.
So, and then there's space that, what we find is that there's always the dreaded space needed to maintain the house.
Yes, and that's why I said I would put a fence. I would actually. We've done that on other sites where we put barricades up, fences. I'm not a fan of plantings.
Mhm.
They get cut. They don't get maintained. Fence. That's something you can see and you can know they fool around.
Anything else?
How far does a well have? House?
25 feet. It's the drain. It's actually not the house itself. It's actually if there's a drain. If it's a deck, like say you have a deck with just sonotube footings, it can be 10 to 15 feet. But if there's a foundation drain, it's got to be a minimum of 25 feet upslope of the foundation drain.
Which probably you'll put in anyway on this.
You have to put a foundation. I think by statute, you're required any below grade space has to be drained by the building code.
The building code, you need where-
Drain both this lot. Is there enough downhill to?
Yeah, you would have to go downhill to somewhere down here. But that intrusion into a setback is a one-time deal.
and that's where the water is gonna go anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
And when you dig the test holes for the septic system, we usually try to dig one in the house foundation now. Matter of course, because we want to know if we have a water problem, if we have good
Yeah.
gravel, what.
you're
So-
anticipating a paved driveway?
Or probably.
So these days, we account for that impervious surface
Yes. Yes.
in your planning.
Well, you'd have to do the house in the drive.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the Civil Engineering Full Employment Act with the, that calls for the design of the well treatment, water treatment discharge is creating these,
Usually a 5-gallon bucket full of gravel.
not anymore. It's a change.
Yeah, I know.
It's a mini system.
Usually 4x4 gallery gravel. Yeah.
So it's just yet another thing.
See, but that you don't know until after the well gets drilled. You could have good water, you could have
we can tell that you're a natural optimist.
Water's probably pretty, not too deep here, I would think, because there's a
Maybe
lake,
you just
pond, big body
take
of
water
Well,
water.
no, you can't,
Doesn't,
these are hard rock wells for the most part. These are not gravel aquifer wells. So your ledge profile is usually 25 to 35 feet deep, and then the casing socketed into the ledge. So you're not getting surface water intrusion. If you're getting surface water intrusion into your well, then A, your well is not potable, and B, you got bigger problems. But these are mostly hard rock wells.
So in the Seymour Road area, we've seen wells at driven wells at 60 feet, and we've seen drilled wells at over 1,000.
When you mean driven, you mean pounded? There's a big difference in the technology. I mean,
Really?
pounding is an older technology, but what it does is it frees up it breaks the fracking. Okay, let me back up a second. It's fracking for water. As you pound it, you're opening up the seams. Drilled well, you're actually sealing it. When they drill it, the fine dust from a drill will actually seal it. And so that's why drilled wells tend to be a little deeper, a lot deeper, than a pounded well.
So we use pounded instead of using that terrible F word because people have allergies to it.
It's a word. I'm sorry. It's you're pounding. You're not injecting chemicals. Fracking, you're injecting chemicals, sand, and other stuff into the rock to hold the seams open so that you can extract the oil. It's a similar process. This is pounding. Fracking is drilled and then pushed. But it's something that people can relate to.
Anything else, Chuck?
no,
Okay.
I will get you that, and I will take Terry's valid comments under advice, because I think they're, especially the propane. That's
Okay.
something I didn't think about.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Sorry to
Well, no, we needed to find our way back here for once. All right, so moving right along. No new business, no old business. Chris gave you a copy of the Habitat, which is nice reading. We got a notice from Deep, as we typically do every year, about pesticide use in 34 Dillon. We don't have to do anything about that. That's just a notice required. Every year we get that, yeah. Enforcement officer report. Oh, sorry. Carrie, anything on the enforcement officer side?
No report, sir.
Good. Did anything ever happen on the Ansonia Road? Remember we dealt with that a year ago?
I'm sorry, which road?
Ansonia Road over near the power lines, that house where the woman lost
We have
interest.
two active things that don't have solutions yet. That's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this odd little house on Seymour Road.
Right.
Right. That there's no resolution to yet.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you'll have it resolved sooner than later.
We
so.
are it's on the radar screen.
Good. All right. Don't have a chance to inspect anything. We have nothing to look at it yet, so that we don't have to do that. I guess we'll look at the minutes from September's meeting, and if, I don't know if anybody had a chance to really look at them yet, but take a look at them quickly, and if you have any comments, corrections, or changes. Hard to even remember that far back. And I think we gave all the work to Terry anyway, so. And if you want, if you want to have a chance to read them, we could always deal with them next month. But glanced through them before the meeting. They look pretty good to me.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes
Okay,
as
Jack,
stated.
Jack moves to approve the minutes. Do we have a second? Josh seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? We're all set with that. Anything else anybody wants to talk about? All right, then do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll-
Jack moved. Second.
Sure.
Dave second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstentions? 7:55. We are done.